Good evening, I am Tashan Tyson, in with you via NMD News Package for today, Monday, 11th February 2019. Novel stories. Nationally, Premier Brantley gives update on digital rate increase, and the Federation's African Heritage on display at the Charles A. Halbert Library. Regionally, Shaggy Sting win Reggae Grammy. Internationally, U.S. shutdown looms as border talks start ahead of deadline. And in sports, Westbrook ties Will Chamberlain's triple-double record. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back, and now the national news in detail. Nevis's Premier, the Honorable Mark Brantley, gave an update on a matter involving digital and its rates. Almost 2 weeks ago, according to the Premier, rate increases were proposed by Digicel. As a consequence, Minister of Communications here in Nevis, the Honorable Spencer Brand and his team then wrote to the National Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, NTRC, in St. Kitts, asking for intervention on the matter. In light of the aforementioned, Premier Brantley said talks are ongoing.
Some clarity to be provided as to how and when and in what circumstances rate increases can be dictated by these companies. I'm pleased that that engagement is ongoing, and as of 17 December 2018, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Works, Dr. Ernest Stapleton, has been in communication with the NTRC, and they've indicated that this is a matter that is under investigation. Of course, we are not anti-business. Businesses are designed to make money, but we want to ensure that the people of Nevis are treated fairly. And so I would commend very much Minister Brand, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Stapleton, and the team for this quick action in that regard.
Premier Honorable Mark Brantley. In celebration of History and Heritage Month, which is commemorated annually in February, the Charles A. Halbert Public Library, in collaboration with the History and Heritage Committee, has set up a book display at the library under the theme African Survivals in St. Kitts and Nevis. Percival Hanley, Chairman of the History and Heritage Committee and General Manager of the Brimson Hill Fortress National Park Society, stated that the theme was chosen to highlight the importance and existence of various aspects that have been inherited over the years from the island's African ancestors. The display and month of activities are expected to help citizens to celebrate, acknowledge, and recognize all of those things that have come down through our past into the present. The display features write-ups, books based on African heritage, and other paraphernalia focused on the theme. The History and Heritage Committee has coined the term African Survivals to depict aspects of the country's African heritage such as dance, drama, art and craft, music, local customs, local sayings, and herbal medicines. In more national news, back in September of 2018, a delegation from the Republic of China, Taiwan, led by resident Ambassador His Excellency Tom Lee, met with a team from the Nevis Island Administration NIA, led by Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. The purpose of the visit was to advance discussions for the development of a national park in close proximity to Pinnes. At the time, Ambassador Lee stated that his government considers this a very important project. 5 months later, the project is mentioned again, and in an update, according to the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, the Pinnis Park project is in progress.
I am pleased to announce that we are now well and truly on the way with the Pinnis Park project. I met about 10 days ago with the Taiwanese ambassador, as I had indicated on a previous press conference that the Taiwanese had come to our aid, and I met with the Taiwanese ambassador. They have now positioned a technical expert on Nevis. So the gentleman has moved to Nevis. He has taken up residence with us, and he will be with us for the duration of the project. His job will be to finalize the design. Currently, I'm advised that design should be completed by March, and we should have groundbreaking by June of this year on that long-awaited project. And so I certainly look forward to that, and I believe, again, that we ought to give commendation and appreciation to the government and people of the Republic of China on Taiwan.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. In more national news.
We have a number of ideas that we will be taking back to the Culturama Committee so that we can implement most, if not all, of what we would have gathered from members of the general public from the two previous consultations.
Executive Director of the Culturama Secretariat and Chairman of Culturama, Antonia Liburd. Mr. Liburd was speaking ahead of the final consultation this week. The Ministry of Culture and the Nevis Culturama Committee are hosting a series of consultations aimed at encouraging the public to share their ideas on how Culturama Festival can be improved. Mr. Liburd says the final consultation, which was scheduled for Thursday, February 14th, has been brought forward by 2 days and will now be held on Tuesday, 12th February at the Red Cross building in Charlestown.
I'm asking all of the persons in Charlestown and the surrounding areas, St. John's, Bad Village, St. Thomas's, Cotton Ground, Jessops, to come on out and share your ideas with the members of the Nevis Culturama Committee and the Ministry of Culture as to the way they think Culturama should go in the years to come.
Nevis will celebrate the 45th anniversary of Culturama later this year. In police news. Forensic pathologist Dr. Valery Alexandrov performed autopsies on the bodies of 33-year-old Musa Zigiwana and 22-year-old Shaquem Stevens on Sunday, February 10th. Dr. Alexandrov concluded that Stevens' death was a result of gunshot wounds to the head and Warner's death was as a result of multiple gunshot wounds to the body. According to reports, Ziggy and Shaquem were shot multiple times about the body by masked men sometime after 10 p.m. on Friday, February 8th. This was the first double homicide for the year and the third recorded homicide. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. Meantime, reports reaching the VON Newsline have revealed that a national of St. Kitts and Nevis who resides in Anguilla was murdered on Friday night, February 8th. Unconfirmed reports say the unnamed man was shot and killed in the Brooks parking lot area. No other details were given. The VON Newsline will provide more on this story as it develops. Executive Director of the European Union (EU), Latin America and the Caribbean LAC Foundation, Paola Amadi, is in the St. Kitts and Nevis on an official visit. This visit, her first to the Federation, is aimed at building a strong relationship with government as well as to further sensitize nationals on the foundation. While in St. Kitts and Nevis, Ms. Amading, along with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, the Honorable Mark Brantley, will announce the ratification on the side of St. Kitts and Nevis of the agreement which will transform the foundation into an international organization in 2019. The ratification instrument will be prepared and signed by Minister Brantley and then delivered to the Executive Director, Ms. Paola Amadi. On October 25, 2016, the EU-LAC agreement was opened for signing, in which St. Kitts and Nevis signed in Brussels on June 14, 2017, making the Federation the 52nd signatory of the agreement out of a total of 62 members. St. Kitts and Nevis has been included on TripAdvisor's latest list of the 25 best Caribbean island getaways. TripAdvisor describes St. Kitts and Nevis as nestled between the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. The dual island destination of St. Kitts and Nevis is a premier destination for Caribbean travel. It continues, the capital city of Basseterre on St. Kitts is situated between the sea and the lush mountains and is filled with historical significance. From Basseterre, head over to Charlestown in Nevis, which can be accessed by a catamaran, where you can relax on Penny's Beach or hop on a bike for a guided tour through historic sites like the Montpelier Estate and Botanical Gardens. TripAdvisor provides links to where to find a great place to stay in St. Kitts and Nevis and browse top tours and activities in St. Kitts and Nevis. 183 persons were welcomed into the 2019 Volunteer Corps during an orientation and training session held at the conference room of the Department of Agriculture on Friday, February 8th. The Corps was introduced in 2018 by the Department of Youth Empowerment. 141 of the volunteers are tertiary school students who received grant funding via the Supporting Advanced of Further Education SAFE program, while 42 of the volunteers are residents who stepped forward to give of their service. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture, Tom Buchanan, described volunteerism as an expression of patriotism and encouraged the members to be agents of change in a time when giving back is wanting. Acting Director of Youth Empowerment, Pierre Liebert, told the volunteers that this was an opportunity for them to grow, to develop skills, confidence, experiences, and a reputation that would make them invaluable to the whole of society. Finally, a series of consultations in traditional fishing communities here in St. Kitts and Nevis will begin in Dieppe Bay on St. Kitts on Tuesday, 12 February 2019. The consultations are part of the St. Kitts and Nevis Marine Management Area Plan. The other communities are Sandy Point on the 13th, Old Road on the 14th, Basseterre on the 18th, Charlestown on the 19th, Newcastle on the 20th, and Indian Castle on the 21st from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The St. Kitts and Nevis Marine Management Area, SKN MMA, was declared in August 2016 and extends to nautical miles outwards from the marine baseline around the Federation, including Monkey Shoals. The plan is being carried out by the Caribbean Environment Education Trust with David Joseph as lead consultant. In preparation for the consultations, a workshop will be held today, Monday 11th February, at the Ocean Terrace Conference Room from 9:15 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com and check us out on Facebook at Von Radio and our Von Radio YouTube channel. News from across the region is next.
We know you have your personal as well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions that make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Gold Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our BeOnline internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited. Improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back, and all the regional news in detail. The best-selling reggae album of 2018 has won the Grammy Award for Best Reggae Album. Sting and Shaggy's 44876 were declared winners yesterday afternoon during the Grammy premiere ceremony at Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. The other nominees were Reggae Forever by Etana, As the World Turns by Black Uhuru, Rebellion Rises by Ziggy Marley, and A Matter of Time by Protégé. 44876 was released on April 20th last year and debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Reggae Album Chart. It also made charts in the United Kingdom, Spain, Poland, where it has been certified gold, Switzerland, Belgium, Germany, debuted at number 1, Hungary, Australia, Austria, France, and Italy. The album has to date sold close to 500,000 copies worldwide. 52,000 of that amount was sold in the United States last year. It spent 23 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Reggae Album Chart. This is Shaggy's second Grammy. He won Best Reggae Album for Bombastic in 1996. That album was released by Virgin Records and sold over 1 million copies in the United States. Shaggy is set to release a new album, Wagwan, on May 10th. It will feature collaborations with Shenseea, Nicky Jam, Jason Derulo, Neander, Family of Brick and Lace, Noah Power, G. Noble, and Alexander Stewart. Trinidad and Tobago is projecting gas production to reach 3.9 million cubic feet per day this year, slightly higher than last year. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, addressing the 2019 Energy Conference and Trade Show hosted by the Energy Chamber of Trinidad and Tobago today, said gas production in the oil-rich Twin Island Republic is on the increase. Rowley said that gas curtailment has been contained due to the increase in gas supply, which is part in due to the stability brought to the upstream sector by the settlement of domestic gas contracts in 2017 by the National Gas Company NGC with EOG Resources Trinidad Limited, a local subsidiary of a US-based energy company, EOG Resources, and BP Trinidad and Tobago, BPTT. He said that the NGC is currently in negotiations with Shell for a new domestic contract. But Rowley said as the industry moved forward offshore, it has had to adapt to the new and often hostile environment in the exploring for and developing of petroleum resources. Out of Jamaica. The narcotics police have unearthed a drug trafficking syndicate operating between Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago when they arrested and charged 3 people at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston for breaches of the Dangerous Drugs Act on Thursday, January 30th. 3 were charged with possession of cocaine, dealing in cocaine, and importing cocaine. Reports from the police are that the 3 persons arrived in Jamaica on a flight from Trinidad. During security checks, a white substance resembling cocaine was found in their possession. The 3 were then taken to a medical facility where they further expelled a quantity of capsules containing the white substance resembling cocaine, weighing approximately 7 pounds, with an estimated street value of $7.5 million. One of the accused was scheduled to appear in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court today, Monday, February 11th, while the other 2 are scheduled to appear in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday, February 12th. That's it for regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. U.S. congressional talks over a border security deal have stalled, raising the chances of another government shutdown. Negotiators were hoping for a deal by today to give Congress time to pass legislation by Friday when the federal funding agreement runs out. They remain divided on how many undocumented immigrants can be detained and funding for President Trump's promised border wall with Mexico. The previous shutdown, lasting 35 days, was the longest in U.S. history. Hundreds of thousands of workers were furloughed, while others in essential services such as hospital care, air traffic control, and law enforcement worked without pay. The cost to the U.S. economy was estimated at $11 billion. The 17 Republican and Democratic negotiators from the Senate and the House have been holding talks to reach a border security agreement that can be accepted by Congress. The latest impasse seems to be centered on a Democratic demand to limit the number of undocumented migrants already in the U.S. who can be detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Russia is planning to briefly disconnect from the Internet as part of planning for a future cyber war. The test will mean data passing between Russian citizens and organizations stays inside the nation rather than being routed internationally. A law mandating technical changes needed to operate independently was introduced to Russia's parliament last year. The test is due to happen before 1st April, but no exact date has been set. The draft law, called the Digital Economy National Program, requires Russia's ISPs to ensure that it can operate in the event of foreign powers acting to isolate the country online. NATO and its allies have threatened to sanction Russia over the cyber attacks and other online interference, which is regularly accused of instigating. The measures outlined in the law include Russia building its own version of the net's address system, known as DNS, so it can operate if links to these internationally located servers are cut. The Russian government is providing cash for ISPs to modify their infrastructure so the redirection effort can be properly tested. The UN is urging the warring parties in Yemen to give it immediate access to a vast store of grain that is desperately needed in a country where millions are threatened by famine. More in this report.
The UN is appealing to Yemen's warring parties to give it urgent access to a flour mill in the port of Hodeidah. The site lies on the front lines and it's been out of reach for 5 months. The mill's store has enough grain to feed more than 3.5 million people for a month. But the UN says there's now a risk that this food will just rot away. The Yemeni government and its Houthi rebel opponents have been trying to finalize an agreement under which their forces would withdraw from Hodeidah.
That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Most of us spend the better part of each weekday at the workplace. So why not make your office environment the kind of setting that helps you function at your personal best by outfitting it with top quality furniture, high-end photocopiers, printers, versatile office supplies, and the latest technology. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at the TDC Business Center are happy to provide you with personalized service to help you create an office space that's the total package. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In basketball, Oklahoma City Thunder point guard Russell Westbrook scored a 9th successive triple-double to tie Wilt Chamberlain's 51-year-old record. The 30-year-old led the Thunder to a 117-112 win over the Houston Rockets on Saturday with 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. Thunder overcame a franchise-high 26-point deficit to beat the Rockets. James Harden, the NBA's most valuable player, recorded his 29th consecutive 30-point game in scoring 42 points. A triple-double means a player has recorded a double-digit number in 3 of 5 statistical categories, points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. It was his 21st 40-point game of the season. No other player in the NBA has more than 7. Chamberlain holds the record for most 40-point games in an NBA season at 63, set in 1961 to 1962. In local sports, the Charleston Secondary School's cricket team engaged their Montserrat counterparts on Thursday, 7th February. Summarized scores: CSS 142 for 5 in 15 overs, Jelani Manners 53 not out, Trishawn Francis 34, Series 2 for 19, A. Levan 1 for 10, J. Williams 1 for 18. Montserrat Secondary 67 all out in 14.3 overs. K. Yarwood 23, J. Carmichael 4 for 11, Trishawn Francis 2 for 1, R. Sigolam 1 for 12, Malik Wallace 1 for 13, Bang Noreen Sharma 1 for 17. CSS won by 75 runs. In football, Sergio Aguero was Manchester City's hat-trick hero again as they returned to the top of the Premier League in scintillating style by outclassing Chelsea at Etihad Stadium. Liverpool's win against Bournemouth meant Pep Guardiola's side needed victory to return to the summit, albeit having played one game more. And their job was done after a sensational opening burst brought 4 goals in the first 25 minutes as Chelsea were left bedraggled, humiliated, and on the receiving end of their worst defeat since they lost 7-0 at Nottingham Forest in April 1991. Aguero completed his hat-trick from this penalty spot after 56 minutes following Cesar Azpilicueta's foul on Sterling, his 15th treble for City and a record equaling 11th in the Premier League on honour he shares with Alan Shearer. And finally, in athletics, Dwayne Chambers was disqualified for a false start in the British Indoor 60-meter semi-final in Birmingham, ending his European Indoor Championship hopes. The former World Indoor Champion 40 needed a top 2 finish and to reach a qualification standard of 6.60 seconds. Meantime, Asher Phillip finished strongly to win the women's 60-meter final in 7.19 seconds. Scotland's Laura Muir raced to the 2000 title in 8 minutes 48.03 seconds, pulling away from second place Melissa Courtney, who recorded 8 minutes 50.61 seconds. Still in athletics, Jamaican distance runner Kimoy Campbell has been taken to hospital after collapsing during the men's 3,000 meters at the Melrose Games in New York. Campbell, 28, was acting as a pace setter when he collapsed and fell into the mid-infield after the second turn just beyond the 1,000 meter mark. He was given medical attention by the side of the track and then carried out of the stadium on a stretcher. The athlete is in a stable condition in hospital. That's it for sports. The local weather forecast is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be partly cloudy with a 30% or slight chance of showers. Weather tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Winds are east to 22 to 37 kilometers per hour or 12 to 20 knots. Seas are 1.8 to 2.4 meters or 6 to 8 feet. A small craft advisory is in effect. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:39 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the Major News package for today, Monday, 11th February 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Premier Brantley gives update on digital rate increase, and the Federation's African Heritage on display at the Charles A. Halbert Library. Regionally, Shaggy Sting win Reggae Grammy. Internationally, U.S. shutdown looms as border talks stall ahead of deadline. And in sports, Westbrook ties Wilt Chamberlain's triple-double record. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.